Remember searching SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. I'm Fahima Mohammed, your host, your relationship and couples coach as well. Thank you so much for joining us each week. And again tonight, from wherever you're streaming from, whether it's on Sky Channel 752 or Facebook or Twitter, a really, really warm welcome from all of us here on British Muslim TV. We're really excited to have new guests each week discussing different topics so that you can also be involved in the conversation. And you can definitely do so by calling into the studio directly to speak to myself or my guest. And that number is 01924 231 083. Please do ask the bill payer's permission as standard network rates do apply. However, we do have another option for you to contact us, and you can do so for free on our WhatsApp service. You can message us directly by asking any comments or questions or queries, and that number is 07585835150. Now, to introduce my guest for tonight, she is streaming from London, and we are here with Fahreen Laskar. Thank you so much for joining us, Fahreen.
Thank you so much for having me, Fahima. How are you?
Very well. It's so lovely to see you, and I really do appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, and you're traveling in a few days. So honestly, I really appreciate. I really appreciate. Inshallah, you will be able to. But tonight we're going to be discussing the importance of appearance to attract your potential spouse. Now, we obviously always like to think that, you know what, we do not worry about appearances and looks, and it doesn't really matter. But the reality is that at the end of the day, those are the first things that we do actually look at and we do actually make a judgment on. Now, before we go into this conversation, Fahreen, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Fahima, I'm a content creator. I started my social media journey about a very long time ago. I think I was the only brown face on Instagram at the time doing beauty and makeup tips and product reviews. So it's been a very, very long time on social media. I've seen all the lows and the highs and the amazing opportunities it's given me. I create beauty content, lifestyle content. I have 2 little girls, so I create family content. And yeah, I just enjoy creating content for my followers.
I love that. It's so interesting. And when I first came across your page, to be honest, it really stood out to me because it felt different to the usual. And what I mean by that is even though you are actually promoting beauty, it just feels different. And your statement on there, which really was capturing to me as well at the beginning, was that you are obviously teaching beauty from within. Now, what does that mean? Because like I said at the beginning, when we're even swiping, when we're looking at apps, dating apps, now, you know, we're looking for a potential spouse. If our parents or family members come to us and they're like, we found someone for you, the first thing we want to say is, what's their, you know, what do they look like? Let me see their picture. So no matter how much anybody says, you know, what looks doesn't matter, we don't care about these things, we have to be, you know, quite honest. And this is a natural kind of thing that, you know, us humans will tend to do to begin with. So how do you see that as an issue, or do you think it's not an issue to actually have that judgment when you're looking at somebody for the first time?
I think nowadays, because of the whole swipe left, swipe right, it's all very much appearance based, which I totally understand. Being in this industry that I'm in, people follow me for the way I look and the type of content that I put out there, which I can understand. I'm totally not for it all the time. I think there need to be some more legislations in place, but I do feel like appearance is important. But also not just appearance, attractiveness. There's so many different forms of attractiveness because it's quite subjective that people look for. There's so many different preferences and qualities that people look for. Like, it's not just physical. It could be, do they have a sense of humor? Do they have the same morals and values as you? Are they kind? Are they generous? Are they family orientated? There's so many things that I think go hand in hand with physical appearance. So I think you need it all. You can't just have physical appearance because that will only get you so far. Looks fade. And, you know, personality, morals, principles, if those aren't aligned, shared interests, then I don't think appearance goes so far. If you understand.
It doesn't, and you're right in what you're saying. However, I know so many people that won't even give that person a chance if they've seen a picture that they just don't like, and they won't give that person a chance. So how would you advise someone like that who is looking for a spouse and they actually have a potential in front of them and they're just disregarding it?
I mean, we see it every day. We see it every day, the whole swiping. They see the picture. If they don't like what they see on the picture, they will move on. I mean, even in different cultures, the first thing they ask for, even if families are arranging marriages, is a picture. It's not the data, the wedding CV or whatever it's called, it's the picture. So I don't know how we're going to break out of that. And I don't know if that will ever change. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that people are attracted to someone's appearance, because the whole term love at first sight must have come from somewhere. And people still live by that, which is absolutely fine. But I think other attributes have to be aligned as well. It can't just solely be a physical attraction. It has to be, like I said, shared beliefs, having a sense of humor, being kind, all those other things play a vital role in having a healthy relationship, I believe. So, but yes, I mean, I'm sure someone will look at my page and be like, oh, I don't want to follow her. I don't like the way she looks. But they'll follow someone else who looks a completely different way. And their idea of beauty is different to someone else's. So
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, no, beauty in physical attraction is definitely subjective, and it is so relative to how you feel. So I think people need to be aware of that. And it is actually okay to reject someone if you're not feeling it. Because on the other hand, there's so much research that says long-term relationships, yes, they do need all the attributes that you said. But on the other hand, you are going to be physical and intimate with people as well. Do you not want to be physically attracted to them? But then if you think about a long-term relationship, that even gets lost over time. You know, women and men change, obviously, with age, with different circumstances. So how would you sort of like see that as, you know, something to maintain within oneself, to look after themselves? It's important to look after oneself in order to be attracted to your partner or to retain that attractiveness. Absolutely. What's your thoughts?
I'm all for that. I have to look presentable every day of my life for my job. And I'm sure my husband appreciates that. I hope he does. So also, I just think it's a cultural thing. I just feel like in our culture, when women get older, they do tend to care less. And don't forget, the women in our culture are mainly the mums. They stay at home mums, the cooks, the cleaners. So they probably put their personal care aside and think of the family, which I think needs to change a little bit. I think we all need to make more effort in terms of our appearances as we get older, as we are in progressing long-term relationships. It is, you know, it's really important to keep that attraction there.
Definitely. And also, when you are looking good and you are looking and taking care of yourself, however level you want to look at it, it does boost self-esteem and confidence. When you feel good about yourself, it attracts somebody in that way. So how do you feel, like, on that note, that, you know, sometimes maybe there's too much pressure in the beauty industry even, because maybe it can go extreme. Now, let's talk about this on the other side of it. How do you feel? I mean, do you not think that even in the industry that you're in is actually also the problem for some sort of disorders like body dysmorphia, as well as people not feeling confident enough? Because if they look at someone who thinks you're beautiful and they're like, well, I'm comparing myself to her and I'm never going to be like that, and look at her. What do you think?
I think this is a major problem that we have all over social media. The whole filters, the Snapchat dysmorphia, like so many things, so many downs have come with social media, unfortunately. And I have two young girls, so I'm very careful the language I use at home, how I present myself. They both know that mummy works on Instagram. They know that this is mummy's job. Mummy gets an income from it. So it's a bit different. I'm not just posting pictures just because I have loads of time on my hands, which I don't. It's actually my job. And I get an income from it. So I think it's very hard to nowadays with this generation find what's real and what's not. And there's so much in the media about change. Oh, get this done, get that done, instant diets. Like people want crash diets in 7 days, change your body, change your face. Like it's everywhere. It's in magazines, it's all over social media. It's really hard to avoid. And I think this also plays hand in hand with mental health. I think that has gone crazy because of social media and the perception of beauty and being perfect. Like people strive to be perfect, have the whitest teeth, have the straightest nose, have those cheekbones, have like lifted eyebrows. I mean, those big voluptuous lips. I mean, where does it end? You know, so I think we need to strip it back a bit and bring it back to how social media used to be, when there was no filters, there was no editing, airbrushing. It was just fun pictures, having fun, going out with your family, with your friends, and just capturing those memories. But unfortunately, that's not what it is now. It's very much, am I wearing the best outfit? Do I have the latest bags? Are my lips perfectly plump? Have I got the latest makeup trend? I mean, it's endless, but I think there has to be more regulations in place, because the next generation will suffer. You know, I think about my girls.
Absolutely. I loved everything you said, and we are going to pick it up at the other end of this break that we're coming towards in a few moments. What I really want to obviously add is that some people, you know, are going to be quite alarmed by everything that's been said, because at the end of the day, they do look at the beauty industry and as an issue in the first place, and it being a problem. And we are going to pick up from that conversation in a few moments. Thank you so much so far for everyone that's been listening and participating and sending in your messages. Inshallah, we will be back in a few seconds, and we will be hopefully discussing some more tips and strategies with Fahreen, and she'll be giving us more of her insights. Take care. See you in a few moments. Stay exactly where you are. Inshallah, we'll be seeing you shortly. Salam.
With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. We're having an amazing conversation here with content creator Fahreen, and she's definitely given us some real food for thought so far with regards to your appearance and how important it is, and to what extent is it important in order to search for your potential spouse. We were talking before the break with regards to people wanting to look perfect. I mean, people always look at each other and, you know, say, Fahreen, that, you know what, at the end of the day, this is how you look. And they might even turn around and say, well, you've got those cheeks, you've got those white teeth. I certainly have. And obviously the light that I've got shining on me really does help. But at the same time, is that really something that people need to focus on in a way that is negative, or should they be looking up towards it? How do you feel that people can compare in a healthy way, but not in a way that's going to make them feel like, you know, less about themselves? How would you sort of like, you know, say, for example, you say you are looking at your daughters and you're trying to make sure that they are looking at beauty from within, but when they look at themselves and compare, like, it's very difficult to compare and not get the sense that, you know, it actually makes you feel bad when you're comparing most of the time.
Correct. I think that stems from just self-love in the beginning and having confidence and giving your kids from a very young age a lot of confidence. In our culture, in our family, we are all compared. I was compared. Me and my sister get compared. Me and my cousins get compared. Unfortunately, it is quite a cultural thing. Oh, she's fairer than you. Oh, she's taller than you. She's thinner than you. It's something that needs to start from a very young age and be brought into our homes. I don't like it. I don't like that type of language around my children. I don't want them to ever grow up with a complex, but I believe that starting from a very young age is where the changes need to be made. Is in our homes, how we speak to our girls, what we watch on TV, what we call beautiful and what they're listening to. So if I say, for example, oh, this supermodel looks beautiful, automatically my girls will be like, she's really skinny and got blonde hair, so mummy thinks that's beautiful. So I have to be very careful with the language I use and what I say around my children. But then again, that starts from a very young age, and keeping them very placid. Everyone's beautiful, all colors. Like, they go to a very diverse school. They have friends who have different texture hair, different skin tones, different features, small features, big features. Everything is beautiful. And it's about teaching them that you are unique and beautiful the way you are. Allah's made you a certain way for a reason, and you are beautiful how you are. But I believe that starts from a very young age, giving children that confidence to be like, my mum says I'm beautiful, so I am beautiful. My dad says I'm beautiful, so I am beautiful. My dad says my teeth are amazing, so who's that? Who else is saying anything? So I think that's really important. I think it stems from home. I think more work should be done educating older generations to watch the language around their children, comparing that. That's where a lot of my insecurities came from, because I was taught, my family are really tall. For some reason, I am really small. So I'm really short. My mum, my dad, my sister, my brother are very tall, and I was the short one. So, oh, look at her, she's tall. And it just embedded in me that I was the small one from such a young age. So I don't ever want that feeling of my children having to think, oh, I'm the small one, I'm the dark one, I'm the light one, I'm this one, I'm that one. It just needs to stop. And then feeding the whole social media aspect, it just feeds into their insecurities. That just is so unnecessary. I think it should start from home, and people just should be more educated, more careful what they say around children.
I love that. I love what you said. It's so valuable and really important, which I didn't even think of. And it's so true. It starts with your household. And we don't even realize in our cultures, actually, that this is so common when people are comparing each other. And parents do it a lot, actually.
Yes.
So I'm really glad that you did highlight that point. And, you know, if children are brought up, because the first thing that they want is that sort of acceptance from, you know, their peers, their guardians. And the thing is, obviously, in school, it will happen differently. But if it's embedded, like you said, in the household, that is such amazing, you know, sort of stance that you've just said then, what you've taken, because I hope that people are listening carefully and do realize that their language makes a difference. And when they are young, they are so influenced more so by their parents and their surroundings. And, you know, what you just said, even I just remembered myself, it's exactly the same in every household, that you're comparing it, cousins, brothers, sisters, whether it's height or skin color and things like that. So all of a sudden, we even talk about social media being a problem, but actually we need to bring it back into exactly where we are living. So I thank you so much for saying that. Actually, that is so important and vital. The other thing I want to go into is that there's a lot of people as well, because we always say, okay, if you're pretty, if you're handsome, then it's easy to find a spouse. But then I hear a lot of people saying, well, you're so pretty, how come you're single? You're so handsome and young. Yeah. So, you know, that obviously does, you know, counter what we're talking about today, to say that looks aren't everything as much as it is the first initial attraction. So have you come across that a lot as well? Do you see a lot of, you know, young or even older women or men, very attractive, but they just can't find a spouse still?
Even if we just turn the TV and look at our celebrities who we look at and who we follow and who we aspire to be, a lot of them are single, and they're supposedly the most beautiful people. They're good enough to go on TV, so they're obviously beautiful. So they aren't with partners. And then I do, like, my best friend's newly single, and she's like beautiful, and everyone says to her, why are you not with someone yet? Like, why? But it's so much more than the attraction, which is what I'm so glad we had this topic, because it's not just what someone looks like. There's a whole checklist that we should have. You know, are they the whole package? Am I just going on looks? Do we have shared interests? Do we have the same beliefs? Do I laugh with them? Do they make me happy? So many factors go into choosing a spouse than the physical. And I think we are slowly seeing that in real life. Hence why we're seeing supermodels single, we're seeing actors single, we're seeing, you know, so many people out there who are single. And you would say, why? Why are you not with someone? So I think more emphasis should be given on the other attributes, not just the physical.
That is true. I just read an article recently which said that actually what you're saying is true, as in there's so much more to just the physical attraction that actually needs to be involved in an individual in order for them to even, you know, connect with another. But on top of that, there's also studies that show that a lot of people are quite fearful of really attractive people, and they don't want to go for the really attractive people. Why do you think that is? That's an excuse for all you pretty people out there.
I've heard that. I've definitely heard that. I've heard they don't want to get someone who's too pretty or too handsome because they might go astray. But I think that's a cultural thing, or like an older generation thing. I don't believe that happens. I think now people want the prettiest, the most handsomest, like, person to like show off as their arm candy when they're going out. So I don't get that. I think you'll go astray regardless of what you look like. It doesn't have to be the most prettiest or the most handsomest person. If that's your intention, you'll do that regardless of what you look like.
I absolutely agree. And do you think it differs also between men and women? Like, I think for women, we can be a little bit more deeper looking when it comes to finding a spouse. We want some sort of security. We're going to look for other attributes. But for men, and I am generalizing because it isn't everyone, please don't have a go, but there is the natural and general consensus that men would love to have someone who is, you know, physically attractive, you know, more so than a women. You find so many people that say there's like, you know, there's this pretty girl, why is she with him, for example, because he gives security and he's older, he's mature, he's maybe got a bit more gray hairs, but he's got the most attractive one. You see that even amongst the celebrities, you see that amongst now even everyday people, they are choosing that way. Do you see that trend around you?
I see that a lot around me. Because I'm from London, I go out in London a lot, and there is a lot of this happening. A lot. The older guy with the beautiful European supermodel, it's everywhere. I don't know how they get them, but fair play to them. I mean, they look really happy, so I can't say anything. They seem really happy, so that's the main thing. But yes, I do think it happens a lot, and I do think the older guy does look for a beautiful young woman as arm candy. I do think that happens a lot, and I think it works for some reason. Like I see it happen a lot in London, and they seem really happy.
Yeah, that's true. I do have a lot of clients as well, but to be honest, the real issues behind the scenes is that when there is a breakup, it doesn't matter how you look. It's really to do with how you can actually become ugly regardless of how pretty your face is, depending on your characteristics. And I've heard that from so many men, especially, that saying, you know, yes, my wife's beautiful, but I cannot, she's put me off marriage, literally. And that's how it is, because eventually there is some sort of like disconnect with regards to, you know, the attitude, for example, or, you know, whatever it may be. So no matter, you know, as much as, you know, looks and appearances do matter when you're first meeting somebody, at the same time, for it to be a long withstanding, committed relationship with value, with much more substance, it does take a different turn. Now, when it comes to the older generation, do you think that they concentrate on appearance much more? Because you did mention that briefly when it comes to parents, but do you think they do that for their children, or do you think they disregard it for themselves? Because a lot of women are complaining that actually their husbands are not making an effort after a long-term marriage, and they're not even, forget just appearance. We're talking about even like personal hygiene here. We need people to actually look after themselves. So that is important. And that even, makes you want to be with someone, even at work, even in, a business environment. You want to be around people that smell nice, that, look presentable. There's a difference. So we are going to go into this a little bit more because we are coming into another break. It's going so quickly and we're actually having such an amazing, fun conversation. I hope that, the viewers are listening and watching, that if you want to participate, please do so by calling into the studio or, messaging us on WhatsApp for free. And inshallah, I will read that out after the break. But in the meantime, please take heed that this is very much a generalized conversation. It is something that is happening openly in our platforms where people are struggling to find a spouse because they are looking just on the first appearances and they're not giving people a chance. So we're trying to deal with this in a healthy way forward, where even though looks are important, but there needs to be a little bit more depth when it comes to analyzing a person. But we will be back in a few moments. Fahreen, who's giving us so much food for thought, and she's going to, join us again after the break. I hope to see you after the break, and stay exactly where you are. We'll see you in a few moments. Assalamu alaikum.
With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV with myself, Fahima, and we have the lovely Fahreen talking about the importance of appearance when, trying to look for a spouse. Now, Fahreen, it's really another question that I have for you, which I'm going to obviously shock you a little bit by it, but do you not think that people might say, I like to play devil's advocate, obviously, but do you not think that people will say, well, it's so easy for you to say looks shouldn't matter because you're so beautiful and, it's easy for you to sort of think in that way and say that way, but actually the industry that you're in is the actual problem. And how would you overcome that? Explain more to me about the industry that you're in, because we always talk about it not being important, yet you're actually in it. So what is different about your company and what you do as a content creator, and what stands out differently?
I think the industry as a whole has started to put in a lot of regulations. There's so much out there in terms of filters, airbrushing, apps to edit pictures. Now, there's been a regulation put in place that if we are promoting a skincare product or a makeup product, we are not allowed to use filters in the promotion. So I guess that's a step in the right direction, because previously when I would do work, I would take on a skincare product, I would use it, people would actually film it with a filter on, and that's kind of mis-selling the product. So you're giving the image that this product, or whatever it may be, a cream, a serum, a concealer, is giving you completely flawless skin, but it's actually the filter. So the ASA, the Advertising Standards Agency, reviewed all content creators' regulations and put in something in place where we are no longer allowed to use filters to advertise a product. So I guess that's a step in the right direction. I mean, there are highs and lows to social media. I love it and I hate it at times. I think it gives people a false image of life. Like it's one snapshot on your grid. It's not your whole life. And I think people just seem to just think that that one snapshot is her whole life every day. She's looking pristine every day. Every moment of the day. I'm a mum. I have 2 kids. I have to go on the school run every day. I cook, I clean. I have a husband that I have to cook for. So yes, I'm not, full glam in the kitchen all the time. It does get a bit real. I'm with the kids a lot. But a lot of people don't see that. And I try and put in more family content in to show I am a real human. I'm not just this pretty little, Instagrammer who just takes pretty pictures and looks like this all the time. That's why I started to do family content, lifestyle, get my girls involved a bit to show them that I am a mum. I am just like any other mum out there. I still do everything I do at home. I don't get any help. It's hard, but I think the problem that we have as content creators is selling an image of perfection that we want people to have and achieve, and we are showing it that it's actually achievable when actually it's not. It's a bit of it's all smoke and mirrors. It's not like glitz and glamour all the time. I started Instagram 5-6 years ago, and there was no one that looked like me on social media. All the beauty content creators were European. They had the fairest skin, the blondest hair, the straightest nose, the whitest teeth. I stuck out like a sore thumb completely. But I thought, do you know what? There's so many girls that look like me that need representation. So let's change people's perception of what beauty is. Let's have darker skin. Let's have darker hair. Let's have bigger features. Everyone doesn't have to be a certain way, which I think one good thing of social media has done is that it's shone a light now on different types of beauty. So now when I go for campaigns with brands, there's all different girls there, all different colors, all different skin tones. And it's beautiful to see that now we're in 2021, that the beauty industry is changing. Okay, it's not where it should be for 2021, but we're getting there. Like for example, foundations, Fahima, I don't know, like, you know how hard it was for us to find a foundation color that would match us. We had to wear all the white colors because we didn't have any for our skin tone. But now brands are catching on. They're being diverse. They're including 40 to 50 to 60 foundation range, like colors, to suit everyone and to be inclusive and to be diverse. And I think now is the best time for people of our culture to like stand up and show that this is how we look. We are proud of where we've come from. These are our features, and we should be celebrated just as much as the other girls on social media or on TV or in the spotlight. So I think that's one of the really good things about social media at the moment. It's shone a light on beauty in a different way. So we're seeing different girls on my timeline. I'm seeing different girls on my explore page. I'm seeing different girls in makeup campaigns, which I'm so proud of. And I hope that, our girls, I'm saying our girls because obviously I have girls as well, that they think that just the way they are is perfect. That there are brands out there who will cater for them, who think they're beautiful as well, who think their skin tone is good enough to have a matching color foundation for. So that's what social media and the media has done in a good way. But like you said, there is highs and lows of social media. And what you mentioned before is one of the lows of creating this image of perfection, which I think we're starting to do now. There's so many campaigns going on at the moment where there's like this hashtag no filters. Mm-hmm. So many bloggers out there are trying to be so transparent with their audience and actually say, I have texture, I have spots, I have blemishes, I have dark patches, but that's life, that's us. I have the biggest dark circles ever. I have 2 kids that just don't sleep properly, so I'm up, but that's how I am.
Actually, speaking of that, but do you think that some people may argue that maybe we should just go out, in that kind of way? I know it's very hard for women, especially brown skin, Asian women. We do have more blemishes. We don't have the even skin tone. It's very difficult to be going out looking like that confident and to present yourself in a particular way. So when people say that you shouldn't be wearing makeup and you should just show your bare skin, how difficult is that as well? Because the other thing I'm hearing when I'm listening to you speak is I can hear people say, well, then just don't wear it. Why put the pressure on? Why even show that there should be perfection? But, personally, I like to present myself in a particular way. For
That's
example.
exactly what I was going to say.
So what is your thoughts?
My thoughts is exactly that. I'm on social media. I'm in the media a lot. So I want to look my best. And if that means me wearing makeup, then that means me wearing makeup. That's how I feel confident. I'm wearing makeup for myself. I'm not doing it to please anyone. It's something that makes me happy and makes me feel like me. So
I love that you said that, actually. Sorry to interrupt you, because a lot of people do feel, especially the people that are judging out there, to say that you're looking in a particular way to attract the other one. And that may be so. But if you're doing it because you're actually loving yourself and taking care of yourself, and you want to present yourself in a particular way, then that is a different thing. But the first thing that anyone says, you know, if you are wearing makeup, is that you're there to attract someone, even though that may be so. That isn't the initial sort of like statement that you put out there as to what it is. And I've seen your page. You have gone on there without any makeup, showing the skin products. You have been very real and raw. No, you look absolutely gorgeous even still. I couldn't even do that myself. But honestly, I love your page. I hope people do go and follow Fahreen, you know, because she's absolutely amazing with what she does. And what I do love about you is because you try to keep it as real as possible. That's why I said at the beginning that you did stand out to me to every other content creator. And I think it was a blessing to actually find you so sort of recently and get you on so quickly as well for that reason. Now, when we come to, you know, what more needs to be done, like obviously because you are in it, what kind of advice would you maybe even, you know, give the industry or people that are watching to sort of like, you know, try and be careful so that they're not blindsided by what they see and what's important? And even when they're looking for a spouse, like, do you think that if they're not attracted to them, that's not going to create actual chemistry between them? Because obviously you want to be, you know, with someone romantically. And doesn't it play a part, though, that you've got to be attracted to them in that way too?
Absolutely. I completely understand the first thing of when you see someone is attraction. I'm not against it. So many people out there are attracted to someone by the way they look, which I think is absolutely fine, but there has to be more to it. Like you said, the example of, oh, my wife's absolutely beautiful, but she's XYZ and I can't be with her. So it goes so much more than just appearance. And one funny thing that happened recently was obviously like on these dating apps, and they present their profile picture and then they turn up and they don't look like nothing like the profile picture. Which must happen so often, but like I feel like there's so much pressure on us to look a certain way, and I just think we have to just get rid of that. Like, you should just be happy the way you are and be content with how you are. And if someone's gonna like you for the way you look, then they will. If they're not, they're not. There's so many people out there who would think your insecurities are absolutely beautiful, and I think that needs to be celebrated more. We don't celebrate it enough in my industry. We try and cover anything that's not attractive. We try and mull it over a bit and not give it any spotlight, but we're just feeding into their insecurities, basically. I just think we need to have more ownership of people just standing up for themselves more and being more confident. But then again, Fahima, that's what I said, that starts from the household. That has to start from home and your upbringing and, you know, how your family members talk to you and, you know, the type of like environment that you're around, like around aunts, your uncles, your grandmas, your grandparents. It all stems from home. So if we can start from a very young age, I'm saying this because I'm trying to implement this with my girls. You know, they're both completely different. They both look completely different. They're both beautiful in their own way. And I don't ever want either of them to think I'm not good enough. That would break my heart to think that they didn't think that they were pretty enough, or, you know, or they didn't like this feature about them or that feature about them. But then again, we have
That's so important. I love that, Fahreen. And, you know, I'm so glad you've highlighted that. And you know, it's really healthy to hear you speak right now. And I'm looking forward to the final part, which we are going to be going through into a short break. But please do stay with us. And inshallah, we will be back in a few moments. And again, if you have any questions or queries, anything for myself or my guest tonight, please do message or call in, and I will read out your messages, and it will be lovely to hear some of you speak. But so far, Fahreen's been absolutely amazing, and I'm looking forward to hearing her speak more when we get back in a few moments. Stay exactly where you are. Inshallah, we'll see you shortly. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. I cannot believe how quick these episodes do go by, and we are at the final part of the show. And thank you so much for watching and tuning in and streaming from wherever you are. It's an absolute pleasure to host and to have these topics and to have amazing guests come in. And Fahreen, you've been so splendid, amazing so far, to be honest. I love everything that you've said. It's so interesting. And it's actually gone on to so many different topics. And the thing is, I want to go into now, we have a lot of struggles. And I did mention it briefly before. When it comes to a long-term relationship, we do find that there can be a sort of like, you get sort of like comfortable and you don't really actually feel that there's a need. But how important is it for the man as well as the woman to continue to look after themselves in order to have that passion and that love between them? Because I have a lot of complaints, especially from women, to say that, my husband's not taking care of himself. And also from men that look at their wives. And obviously we go through whether it's, birth or, old age or whatever it may be. But is it possible to still, bring about attractiveness physically where you're taking care? Because attractiveness can be even the fact that they're still charming, that they still, talk to you in a particular way. But at the same time, if you approach someone, like I said before, looking and making a special night and, making it,
Right.
much more better for yourself, how important is that for a long-term relationship to be sustained and, in a fulfilling way? Because we have so many issues where people are breaking up, and that can actually jumpstart something, even if it's a serious issue, where there is that love and intimacy between two people.
I think you're right when you said it's not just about the whole looking a certain way. It's, are they still charming? Like what me and my husband do, like we go out on date night a lot. We try and go out, I think, 3 or 4 times a month, and we go for dinner. We both get dressed up. We both really look forward to it. We go into London, have a great meal out, but we need that time out of the house, out of the kids' way, not thinking about school, lunch, packed lunches and, phonics screening tests and stuff like that. But I think stuff like that definitely helps. I know a lot of my friends who are like, oh my God, you guys still have date night. I'm like, how could you not have date night? How could you not have time where you and your spouse can just go out, leave the house, forget all your worries, get a babysitter, and just go out and just be young again? Because that's what we love doing. Because I think that's really important. Because you're right, life is hard, it's stressful, it's work, it's relentless, it's one after another. And I can see why couples don't find time for each other in terms of appearance and, for example, going out with each other and making that effort in that way. But I think it's a two-way thing. My husband goes to the gym a lot, which makes me want to go to the gym because I'm like, oh my God, if he's going to the gym, why am I not going to the gym? So I think it's a two-way thing. I think you both have to be on the same page.
Yes.
In terms of not getting too comfortable and still trying to look your best, and just small things like getting your hair done. I know, just small things like that make such a huge difference. And it's not always, like I said, about the physical appearance. It's all about, do you make time for each other outside of the house? Do you go on like lunch dates? Do you go on dinner dates? Do you go to the theater? Do you go watch a movie? Just small things like that make such a difference. And I would highly recommend that to couples who are starting to feel a bit too complacent with each other and feel like it's a long-term relationship and it's getting a bit boring. I definitely would get dressed up, have a night out, and just enjoy yourselves. Like, you started the attraction somewhere, so go back to that.
That's good. I love that. The thing is, it's so important what you said as well, because at the end of the day, when we are in a long-term relationship, you have that excuse when you have date night to actually get out of the house and have your partner see you in a different light. Because if they're coming home every day and seeing you, in the same sort of outfit or not even making any effort. So you take that time outside and, you're taking me out tonight. So even if you're in the office and you're seeing whoever you're seeing, I can be as good, if not better. So definitely amazing recommendation that you've just said there. I have an actual question that was sent to me, and I think it's a female that sent it. And she's like, I found somebody, but I am still attracted to my ex. So how is it that you can, be in a new relationship while you're still thinking about your ex and you've got that physical attraction for them? Do you think that ever dies? I'm not sure if you know how that may work.
I can't relate. I don't have an ex. But I don't think that's a good way to start. I feel like you need to close one chapter and then start a new one. So I feel like if there is something that's still lingering between you and your ex, then you need to get closure on it and like close that before you get someone else involved and potentially end up hurting someone else in the long run. So I would suggest her to go back to her ex and just find closure and either be with him or don't, and then move on. But with a clean heart and a clear conscience that you've moved on,
Perfect. I love that. Okay. Hopefully that answers your questions. Thank you so much. I have another one actually. I think it's from a guy. He's like, I know, it's right towards the end. It's like, I am attracted to two people. How do I choose? That is also a dilemma. You have more than one attraction.
I know. Oh my gosh. What would I say to that? Oh gosh, I would say, like I said, okay, appearance is one tick box. Do they have the others? Can you see yourself having a family with them? Does he make you laugh? Is he kind? Is he generous? Will he look after you? Will he give you stability? Will he make you feel safe and secure? There's so many attributes that go with just, I like the way he looks. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be more than that. So I would recommend this person to check which one is more compatible with all the other attributes, not just the appearance.
Very, very true. Actually, they are coming in now. It's another one.
Oh gosh, they're getting really hard.
I do find that there are so much more prettier girls than there are men. Okay, this is a very generalized conversation, and obviously it's one-sided from where you are. Do you think that's the case, where we do find there are women that make more effort than men do?
Yes. Is that wrong of me to say?
It's no right or wrong. It's just your opinion.
I think they do. I'm just speaking back from my world, my industry. We are all female. 90% of us are female. And when I go to events, when I go to work meetings, I see how girls dress up and how much care they take in the way they look and present themselves. And I do feel like it's more of an emphasis on the women than the men. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's more important for the women to look pristine, and the men can kind of get a bit of a side pass on it. So I do feel pressure.
Do you think because women have, like you said, I think, you were actually going into that they might have more pressure to look in a particular way, whereas men, they can get away with it. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. This is like the whole thing where we go back to saying the older guy with the beautiful woman. I mean, it goes back to that. Like, there's a reason why this woman is with this guy and this guy finds this beautiful supermodel attractive. There's a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way. Just for example, how much pressure is it for us women when we have kids to bounce back? I mean, the pressure, these celebrities bounce back in like a day. I don't know if that's realistic. It's not. I mean, I certainly didn't. I still haven't. So there's just so much pressure. And I feel like it's definitely more the women than the men that get it. Because I feel like
do you think even women are giving that pressure to other women more than other men as well sometimes?
I think it's frustrating that women are criticizing other women, and that is a fundamental issue. I see a lot in my industry. We're all beauty girls, we're all girls, so you can imagine an environment of all girls. It's not the best, it's not the most healthiest, it's very hard. And I feel like they put pressure on each other. To be completely honest with you, if on social media I get a nasty comment on the way I look, 99% of the time it's from a woman. It's never a guy. So I don't get that. Where's the whole female empowerment? Where is women supporting women? If we've got no chance if we're tearing down our own. We have no chance. We are making it so easy for men to do that to us if we're doing that to ourselves. Wow. So I think that is will that ever change? I I don't know.
I'm really happy that you've raised so many important points tonight, and it's so real, so raw and fresh. And I hope that, you know, everyone else has enjoyed it as much as I have, because I really do thank you so much for coming in tonight, especially under the circumstances that you're in. And I don't want to erase that at the beginning, but we are coming towards the end of the show. If you could give me some final thoughts, as well as, you know, just, you know, basically, you know, tell me, you know, what is it that you would like to advise people around that do actually consider appearance more than they should? And give me your final statements, please.
I think, well, firstly, thank you all for everyone who tuned in and listened to me and Fahima just gossip all evening, which has been an absolute complete dream to do this evening. I think we have to go a long way in terms of changing perception of image and what we look for and what we find important. A lot has to be done just to protect our future generations, and to let's get rid of mental health issues. It all stems from this screen. It does. It stems from social media. The pressure, like we were talking about, the pressure on women is a lot, you know. And I think that needs to change. And yes, the circumstance on my end, yes, it has been quite hard. My grandma passed away a few days ago, and so everyone watching, please make dua for my grandma. She was like the head of my household, and she was like headquarters, we used to call her. She would run the family, and certainly all her children.
You've just blown me away, Fahreen. Thank you so much. It's, you know, unfortunately, we have come to the end of the show, but I'm glad you shared that with us. And it just goes to show your commitment to your work and what you do. And you are your word, because you've actually still come on regardless of circumstances. And inshallah, everyone does read Surah Fatiha for Fahreen's grandmother, who has passed away only a couple of days ago, and she still came on to speak to us. Thank you so much. This is why the show is so valuable, so amazing. And inshallah, we will be back next week. Even though it's the holidays, we are still continuing with Single Muslim Live. So please do tune in. We'll see you in a few days' time with another topic and guest. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you, Fahreen, especially for being with us tonight. She's been an absolute superstar. And do check her out on her page on Instagram. And inshallah, we'll see you next week. Salam.